Okay, my name's Councillor Brian Ridgway. I'm the County Councillor for Eckington and Killamarsh. I also sit on the District Council and I chair Eckington Parish Council. The issue that's come to light, of course, is the application by INEOS to drill if you like, an exploratory well up at the Marsh Lane of the parish. There have been some many difficulties over this particular application, which hasn't yet arrived into the County Council. And the difficulties are, of course, around the community in which it borders. The school is 200 yards away, and of course the community itself is a lot nearer to that. And many people are very concerned, very worried about the future, the children, the atmosphere, the lorries and everything else. And the environment's massive because this is a very rural part of our parish. True to say, people need to know exactly how this will progress when the application does come in from INEOS, who are a giant chemical company. They own the Grangemouth site in the north, and the whole of the industry, which is shale gas extraction, is backed by the government and is part of the government's energy policy. The energy policy downgrades renewables such as solar and wind and goes in favour of shale gas extraction. So looking at the pure form of how it will work when it comes in, the local parish council has taken a stance that they do not want this shale gas extraction within the parish, and they took that as a resolution just a week or two ago. Well attended by many people, and I think it's been well received. The District Council, which is North East Derbyshire District Council, took a stance against what they called fracking at that particular time last year. And true to say, I was very happy to be involved in that debate and to vote against the process anyway. Now we come to the real nub of the matter, which is the County Council. The County Council is what's called the Minerals Authority. So when anyone comes in and they want to extract anything out, such as your Lafarges or anything else, anyone wants to work in those areas, and this includes gas extraction and oil and coal, it goes to the larger county planning committee. That planning committee will determine the application when it comes in on a purely technical merit. If it's found, or that the planners feel that it is found not to hold up against what is commonly known as planning guidance, then they will reject it. That rejection will, or possibly would, lead to an appeal which goes to the Secretary of State. We haven't got that far yet. The reality of it is that this planning application hasn't landed yet. And what we have within our midst, within the community, is a natural outrage that there was no consultation on this. But what we have to realise is this is just a company who has arrived, they're allowed to arrive, they're allowed to go on private land with the permission of the landowner, and they're allowed to do their business, providing that they apply for proper guidance. So they have come on, they have announced that that's what they're going to apply for, and the local people are really incensed about it. You have to remember, the hamlet up at Marsh Lane has, over the last few years, it's lost its post office, it's lost its shop, it's losing its bus service very slowly. It is not well served on that sort of basis. It's got a couple of pubs, it's got two very active social centres, and works very well in that, but unfortunately it's fell by the wayside as far as mainstream is concerned. Now, people up there, as with a lot of our rural communities, have lived in their houses for many years. They live in their houses that they were born in. They take them from their mum and dads. It is an on-the-edge community, and people want to go and live there. That's where people would like to go. And true to say, again, right, the initial community is still there. There's still stabilised community. People are related. They have their friends living at the end of the street. They have the mothers living one end of the street, sons and daughters living at the other end of the street. Nobody wants to go far away. This is a very, very good, cohesive community, and it deserves to be treated better. I have heard all sorts of stories of people buying houses and they fell by the wayside as far as the search is concerned, because the planning application hasn't settled in yet. And those are things that will need to be sorted out. But the real fears of contamination, of lorries, atmospheric contamination, and of course the environment. If go up to Marsh Lane at any time, and you will see people early in the mornings. They're walking their dogs. They're taking constitutional walks. They're looking around. They're enjoying the countryside. There's a very thriving allotment community up there. The school is a wonderful little school, well run up there. They are worried to death. They have all sorts of issues around. It's an old school. You all know the old pointy-ended, gable-ended schools, and it's an old school. And this is because it's a slightly isolated community. There are people from the community send their children there, and they are worried that even going out into the playground, there are going to be problems. The school have approached the company and said, "Look, could you tell us what's going on?" The company have immediately said to the school, right, "Oh, don't worry, we'll give you double glazing, we'll give you fencing, we'll give you all sorts of perimeter stuff which will safeguard the children. And by the way, our process isn't dangerous." Well, hang on a minute. Why are we putting all these things in if it isn't dangerous? So the headmistress there is very, very worried about what's going on, and conveys that worry along to her Board of Governors, and the Board of Governors, of course, have a responsibility to the children, and by extension to the parents of the families. So no one's getting any answers at the moment, because there aren't any answers to give. The company are giving their company line, which is this is a safe process. This is a process in which we are well versed. Reality is, I don't believe that they are well versed. I went to a company exhibition just the other day. I spoke to a young man there, and his words were to me, he said, "We need to get this right, and we need to get this right, this particular well, right first time. If we don't get it right first time, that's very bad for our company, but also very bad for the industry." And I stood there for a second or two and looked at him, and looked at him, and looked at him again. And I said, "And the community?" "Oh, yes," he said, it would yes, he said, that there may be issues for the community as well. Well, hang on a minute. Where's his first train of thought? It's for company and it's for profit. There are issues around responsibility, and the areas of responsibility we're going to look to necessarily is who's going to pay if something goes wrong. You know, will it be the community? Will it be the county council? Will it be the government, or will it be indeed the company? I can't see that, and I haven't got many things on record where companies have happily paid out where things have gone wrong. It usually goes on for years and years and years in litigation, and people get a fraction of whatever. So what happens if the well does go wrong? What happens if there is a spillage into the water table? What happens if people get infections and so on and so forth, and they suddenly realise it's happening there? Is it the company policy to say, "Oh, you're all indemnified by our insurance company," or do you claim off your own insurance company? You know, who's going to pay that price? You know, I'll tell you who pays the price, right? It will be the community. Because first and foremost, it's the community that have to deal with their own health problems. You could give Joe Bloggs £1 million, right, to sort out his chest complaint or whatever, or his lungs. You know, that £1 million, right, won't keep him alive. It will only treat him. You know, and what about the 5, 6, 7-year-old that suddenly develops asthma? that asthma will go on for years and years and years. So that's a debilitating illness that young children are already developing. We all know there's a rise in asthma instances, and that's happening right across the country. So why are we exacerbating that as well? People will pay, and people will pay with not money, right? They will pay with their health. They will pay with their quality of life. They will pay with their future welfare needs and their health needs. And the community, this community is not equipped to meet that. This community is only equipped to live, work and enjoy what they've earned and built up over the years. If you want to come and drop a big bomb in the middle of that, which this appears to be, then you have going to cause more problems in the future. And that's all we're doing. We are stacking up more problems in the future. And that's the real price. The real price is the health of the community. The government recently changed the rules over the last few years. They changed the rules on trespass so that these people can go onto people's lands. They do need permission to go on lands, but that permission is wafer thin. All they have to do is apply to the courts, and there's a presumption of access. That's part of the government's strategy towards getting these people working and extracting this gas. The other thing, of course, is that these people don't have to pay too much heed to the environment, because when the white paper and the legislation was structured allowing them to do this, right, it was worked out how many hectares does it take to put this site on. So if you're within a hectare, right, and it's in the legislation, strangely enough, it's less than a hectare the site is. So the legislation was actually put together. If it's less than a hectare, you don't have to put an environmental impact assessment in there, you know. And this is pre-priming. This is pre-priming the applications and everything else. So it's all led towards the industry. And it's so sad for me. It's so sad for me because there are opportunities for renewables. There are opportunities for us to get proper green credentials in this particular area. This area has paid its debt. It's paid its debt in coal, it's paid its debt in steel, and it's paid its debt in what the railways brought through. And the railways, yeah, they were the lifebloods and everything else sort of thing, but that part of industry has moved on. This is progress, right? But we need to get over this mineral extraction from the earth. What we need to be doing is looking for other forms. And if we're going to take it out of the ground, then there are going to be problems. We are storing up problems for our children and our children's children, and that doesn't bode well for any of us. I think that the government should look again. I think that the major parties should look again. And I will say this is a political issue. I'm a card-carrying member of the Labour Party. I'm a councillor for the Labour Party. We have come out and we have said the extraction of shale gas is wrong, and we don't want anything to do with it, you know. And I do realise that the other parties have got other agendas, you know, but the reality of it is what it comes back is the impact on our communities, the health of our children, the health of our older people. This area has an higher than average chest, lung, heart disease problem. And that comes from the coal, it comes from the steel, it comes from all these things that have been going on. There's realities of it here. There are people living in Marsh Lane that are on oxygen. There are people living in Marsh Lane that have to regularly attend clinics to monitor their hearts, their chest and their lung conditions, right? Why exacerbate that? What are we doing? What are we doing to the communities if we're going to allow the massive industries to move in 200 yards from people's homes, people's schools, people's playgroups, right? And where elderly people want to sit out on their backyards and enjoy, if you like, the autumn of their years, right? What are we doing with the noise, the dust and the dirt and the impact? Why are we doing it to these people? I don't know. Perhaps the government can tell us.